the teacher in the teacher's intellectual capacity knows this about the child, is reaching out to the parent to say, I'm not throwing your child out, but I'm saying your child needs extra help. Parents don't take that very well. Then what happens to the child's mindset? The child then also becomes offset. And is this really what education is about? They don't really want to look at wanting to learn anymore. For the child, learning becomes suddenly not something important or something that they have a passionate about. No, the child suddenly feels that they need to learn for the sake of pleasing their parents instead of actually learning for the sake of developing themselves and educating themselves as a child. So when we have to draw the barriers, we need to remember that no, our teachers are highly intellectual because they are encompassing more than just one role a day, like I've just mentioned. And our children are really having to conform to whatever standards are set, only because they need to meet them for themselves to be validated or understood. So when we're looking at the systems, the educational systems around the globe need to be relooked at because the systems are what dictates the methods of teaching. And that is what really become making the teaching role become less respected. And when we want to understand then why people are not wanting to become professional teachers, why we're not looking to the teaching profession, look at the systems. Look at the actual educational systems around the globe. Are they including are they including any form of norm that makes an intellect happy? Are they including any forms or norms that allow for the intellect salary, etc., etc., etc.? We could go on. We could go on debating that. But are the systems working? The systems are what are dictating the norms nowadays. The systems are generated by governments. Not, and they are not looking at the children and the children's mind or the children's development. They are not looking at the teacher's mind, the teacher's development. No. So an intellect in today's world is merely somebody who wants to sit behind a desk with a high qualification or multiple number of certificates and merely point in data or have an opinion on specific data that's there and get paid a high salary for that, as opposed to a teacher who has to go in, make the effort, pull in the resources, put in the effort, and go to actually beyond the mere mind intellect and go beyond and touch into the emotional side of life for those 40 kids in a classroom and get a result. Still be result driven as somebody sitting behind a desk. So we are looking to find the intellects of today being so focused on just that method of data orientation, the status of the world, that they forget there is the emotional side of being. And that's what the teachers have to tap into. Teachers have to do this on a daily basis. Teaching right now is really, I believe, harder than ever before for many reasons, including having to cope with student behavior, having to cope with rapidly changing technologies, having to cope with your salary never being increased enough, but you still manage to cope and you're still going in on a daily basis. So remember, our teachers are facing many challenges on a daily basis, yet they are giving 200% of themselves are given to children because this is their passion. Are intellects that passionate? Or intellects merely there to get by in the day and say it's done? Intellects are more checklist based. I'm here, there's my checklist, I've ticked everything, my timesheet is done, I'm done for the day. Teachers know. Teachers will give that and 200% extra. So teachers, remember, today are providing that power that is needed in education, of education for our youth, for our children. And through that, it is giving them the possibility to achieve that better future. So teachers simplify that complex into making it a little bit more accessible to students. Intellects make it a little bit more complex to get by. Teachers break down their complexity and they make it easier for our children, our students, our youth. And I always say, our youth and our children are not leaders of tomorrow. They're already leaders of today. Teachers know this. So teachers grow them and groom them and make that difference in their lives. Intellects, however, somehow feel and they tend to make the teaching profession less demeaned. Why? Why are people looking at the teaching profession in a less demeaning way? Why are teachers actually being looked at as if their profession is less than the next one? No, it's not. Actually, the teacher needs to be more recognized. I say this over and over again. Your teacher is what is making you. Your teacher is what is growing you. Your teacher is what has grown us to be who we are today. Your teacher is growing your child to become who they need to be tomorrow. So they are more than just the intellect. Let me just say that the topic of today is the failure of intellectual minds not joining the teaching profession. I'm here to say to you that if you want to join any profession that is going to give you the biggest boost, it is going to be the teaching profession, because there is nothing more that you can find that will actually reach out to your intellect as a soul, as a person, as a self. To be the teacher most successful today, making sure those 40 kids 10 years from now are the best they can be, requires a hell of a lot of you reaching deep within your being. And that takes a high intellect. That takes you to become the most intellectual being that you can be, because that makes you the highest of intellectual teachers that can ever be. So I want to leave it with that and say to IDYM again, thank you so much for the opportunity. It's always an honor to be on the group. And thank you for this opportunity of me being able to speak here today. And I hope I've managed to reach someone with some of what I've said, if not one person, that we make the change to more than one. So thank you again for the opportunity. And let us not look at our teaching professions as failing professions. Let us grow our teaching professions to be even better than they can be, because the teacher today is actually grooming our future for us. So let us give it that respect that it requires, and let us try and bring in more of the people into the profession, because that is the most highly intellectual one of all. Thank you so much.
Awesome, ma'am. Awesome. I think you started the session on a very wonderful note, highlighting the core issues of why the intellectual minds are not joining the teaching profession. Actually, if you see from the other side of the lens, is that for us teachers, for educators, teaching is not a profession. It is like creating an education system to create a wonderful ecosystem of learning for children to become better citizens of tomorrow. So, unless and until the intellectual minds are well equipped with the unseen resources, with the kind of challenges that we face on the battlefield, because those are hidden from the higher authorities, the challenges that we face. I mean, it's a very debatable topic. It's a very controversial topic also, because a lot is hidden from the higher authorities, a lot is not exposed to the higher authorities, and the intellectual minds become intellectual only through experiences as they go on progressing during the teaching profession. So this is what is the core issue of discussion today. And moving on to my next speaker, I would like to call Vishaka, Dr. Vishaka Gupta, ma'am, to highlight the issues more further. Welcome, ma'am. Please take the stage.
Thank you, Sonal ma'am. Thank you, IDYM Foundation, for giving me this opportunity to speak on this platform. And because this topic is very close to my heart, failure of intellectual minds not joining the teaching profession. Believe me, whenever I'm interviewing teachers, this is something that actually intrigues me as a principal, that why are these minds not joining the profession? And when I went to look at it, I started with my students. So in one of the workshops that I was taking with my students, I asked them, how many of you want to be doctors? Believe me, so many hands went up. How many want to be engineers? Again, so many hands went up. How many of you want to be teachers? Only one hand up. Can you believe it? Only one hand up. So first of all, there is no motivation. There is no choice that people move towards this profession. Even if you ask so many teachers and principals, have you become a teacher by choice or by force or by circumstances? Most of them answer that it is by circumstances, not by choice. And what are the reasons behind it? I would start with the first reason, that there is less social respect and acceptance. We say, okay, we'll touch the feet of the teacher. But if we talk about what makes a teacher or what a teacher has to do, it is considered a half-day job. So I can take care of my kids, I can be home, I can take care of my in-laws, and then I'll be able to manage a half-day job and then come back home. So that way, less respect is associated with this profession. People feel anybody can be a teacher. If I am educated, I can be a teacher. And that's the saddest part of it. There are no retirement incentives. The other jobs have high salary packages. Teachers make all professions. But look at the salary packages. Look at the offerings. They are least paid in the industry. If I go by industry norms, they are least paid. Why would somebody like to come into a profession that pays them peanuts? Why would somebody like to be a teacher if not forced by circumstances of kids or in-laws or family to take care of? What is the attraction? I understand when we all say and we talk of those big words as love and care and grooming children. But where is that incentive for a teacher, for a lady or a man to come forward and say, yes, I want to be a teacher? Are the salary packages so high? Is the social respect so high? We all remember teachers on Teachers' Day, we go and touch their feet. I remember a video that I saw and I would like to quote it here. There was a video which said there were 4 to 5 people made to sit on a panel. One was a doctor, one was a lawyer, the other one was a judge, the fourth one was from the army, and then there was Mrs. Patel. People were called in randomly and they were made to sit in front of these people which had the nameplates. So all these 5 people had their nameplates in front of them. So Mrs. Patel, Judge so-and-so, Lieutenant Colonel so-and-so, and Doctor so-and-so, and Lawyer so-and-so. They were asked, who do you think is most important according to you? Everyone, believe me, everyone spoke that, lawyer is important, doctor is important, judge is important, the army man is important, they serve the country, they protect the country, they save people's life. Nobody spoke about Mrs. Patel. And then the organizers intervened and they said, we'd like to tell you what Mrs. Patel does. She's a teacher. So believe me, there is no respect. Doctors are written as DR. Teachers have been struggling for so long to write the initials TR. They have not been given that right. So then, they develop various professions, but they don't get that social respect, that social and economic status that other professions have. Why would somebody come? Why would brains come in? People spend so much, they gain so much of knowledge, and to earn just a few thousands when other professions are paying them so highly, why would somebody turn here? Salary is low. I have already discussed that. Then half-day jobs. So that is the kind of feel. If a lady is a teacher, oh, that means you have to take care of children. Otherwise, you must have been into the IT or you must have been an engineer or this or that. So that is the kind of social mindset about teaching, that you are into this profession because it's a half-day job and you can take care of things further. Which is why NEP has ensured, the new education policy has ensured that if somebody has to be a teacher, first of all, takes that professional qualification. I've seen so many people doing B.Ed after they decide that they want to be a teacher. We've just enrolled for B.Ed. We are going to enroll for B.Ed. We are graduates. Even engineers come to me asking for jobs because they have a young child and they can go back home and take care of the child. That's the reason given to me. So where and why would social respect and intellectuals come here? The moment the child grows up, they want to go back into the engineering or the other professions. So first of all, the most important thing which I think NEP has done beautifully is they have associated B.Ed with graduation. So somebody who plans to be a teacher can take up that course accordingly in higher educations and can in a planned way be a teacher. But that is just not enough. We have to divert the thought and mentality of the people towards the teaching profession by giving them that respect. In foreign countries, in Finland, only a judge and a teacher can sit in a court, no one else. Only a teacher is offered a chair. That's the kind of social respect that teachers have. There, people would like to get into the teaching profession. The salaries are equivalent to industries. Their intellectuals would like to get into this profession. See, everybody needs some kind of social security for themselves and their families. Where is the teaching profession providing that? Why would somebody like to, who's been, in India, again, it's a race because we are so many in numbers. We have to cut that rat race, right? So why would somebody by choice enter into a profession studying up to so many years and say that I want to become a teacher because it's giving me this much. I have a family to take care of. I have children to bring up. I have my responsibilities of my parents. Will I be able to fulfill that in my salary? There's a lot that teachers can do, and there's a lot that intellectual minds can come into this profession and provide. Believe me, we can rationalize the educational system, but we need to rationalize first the level and the status that this profession requires. That respect is yet not given. On Teachers' Day, we see a lot of flowers in the teacher's hand, but otherwise, do we remember those teachers? What happens to the teachers who've retired? What is the kind of social security they have? Nothing. The little amount that is cut for their PF, collects as a small kitty for them. But is that enough? Is that PF equivalent to the PF of professionals that are created by these teachers? You name any profession, and the teachers have created those people. But what about the teachers themselves? What is the kind of social security, the social respect, the dignity of the job that is being provided to them? The day this happens, we will see intellectual minds coming into this profession. And it's a stark reality, my friends, that this is true and it's happening. And NAP has started working on it. But there is much more to do for the teachers and for these intellectual minds. And believe me, I can vouch for it. The day an equivalence is provided to the teaching profession, there would be no saying that people don't want to join it. Intellectual minds would themselves come into this profession. Why do we find researchers? Because they're highly paid. People go into the research. That's also some kind of teaching and learning, but they don't come as teachers. Why do we have more lecturers but not teachers? Lecturer is a better paying job. There they can better take care of their families. But what about teachers? So the entire social setup has to be revamped. The thought process have to be taken care of. Policies have to be brought in wherein this thing is taken care of. And believe it, that day would be the day we will not have to hunt for intellectuals. We will not have to hunt for excellent teachers. We would find people coming on their own and opting for this profession. Thank you so much.
Totally. I will say salute to you for highlighting your voice out, ma'am. And this is the need of the heart. We want people like you to come out on the forefront, raise a voice, and your voice matters. That we say, I think we should have a session on IDYM, your voice matters. सब अपनी आवाज उठाओ, सब अपनी आवाज को बुलंद बनाओ, और let us create a voice collaborating together. What is the core issue of the teaching highlighting profession? And ma'am, one thing I would like to ask you that is, when we talk about the intellectual minds, and I think there is no dearth of intellectual minds. All the teachers are updated with each and everything. Freshers may need training, no doubt about it. But unless and until we people, experienced people who have seen the war, who have fought the war, and who have emerged victorious, can we come out and help the freshers also? That is missing. That is missing, because the teachers come to the teaching profession in fear, number one. Number two, they have this back of the mind nagging skill. That fear is that whether I will be accepted by the staff or no, or whether my skills will be highlighted or no. There is some kind of insecurity. As you are a principal, you may be knowing. I think we have Bedkar sir also as a principal. So what kind of questions do you think should be asked to a teacher when she is joining the profession? What kind of questions? Just 3 or 4 will be good to hear from you, ma'am.
Ma'am, see, questions should be based on their knowledge. Whatever class you want the teacher to teach, if she has the subject knowledge, that's good enough. Trainings can happen. And I'll give you the example of Pune Sahodhya. I'm a part of it. Sahodhya is a group of principals. Dr. Bedkar would know better about it. So I am a member of the Pune Sahodhya, and I represent one zone. I'm the coordinator of that zone. See, we work a lot on teacher trainings. CBSE has made it mandatory for each teacher to have 50 hours of training. So there is no dearth of training. We are ready to train all our teachers. Just that we need people with good subject knowledge. Because children cannot, if we, we are spoiling the foundational stage of the children if we hire people with less knowledge. So I just look at the subject knowledge of the teacher. I can train the teacher properly in the way I need it for my school or CBSE requirements. So no other requirement but just the subject knowledge. Dr. Bedkar sir, what would you like to say about what I felt? Sorry, Sonal ma'am, I directly asked
Yeah,
him.
please, no doubt about it.
Madam,
Always welcome.
Your point is very correct, because teachers, those who impart the knowledge to the students, are the backbone, and they should at least should be perfect in the topic and the subject knowledge up to that level of the student to whom they are teaching. Thank you.
So Sonal ma'am, I think I've answered your question when I say
Very well.
that only subject knowledge and nothing else. We'll train them. All principals are ready to train their teams, and all principals have done an excellent job. COVID has proved that we were excellent in training our teams, and our teams were excellent to take that training and become, totally aware of how things had to happen. Otherwise, there would be no schools where classes would be running. So my teachers are ready to learn. Principals and educators are ready to teach. We just need them to have the basic subject knowledge of the class they have to teach.
Yeah, that is wonderful to hear from you. And I think people like you and we all together are cleaning the system. And that is the need of her. When people like you, me, and Bedkar sir, and all the other speakers over here are fighting tooth and nail to wash out the dirt in the water, to make the water as clear and transparent and healthy for everyone to drink. So thank you so much, ma'am. And before going, I would like to just highlight one thing. Education gap and job gap should not matter for a job. It is important to focus on the skills and experience required for the job. This is the need of the hour. Rather than concentrating on how many years you have worked, why did you take a break, what was the break taken for, should be washed away. And the more skills and the expertise of the person educator should come, because as women, as ladies, our job is never ending. We have multiple tasks to handle. We have 10,000 jobs to handle. And if we are asked questions like these, that why did you take a break? What was the reason for the break? How will you concentrate on the job? These questions are not required now in the 21st century. And we talk about 21st century skills. So I think the 21st century interview sessions also should now be modified and made it more healthy. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
So my third speaker for the day is, I think, Dr. Anjum Qureshi, ma'am. Let us hear from her, the need of the hour, and welcome, ma'am.
Yeah, I'm audible, ma'am. I'm audible?
Yes, absolutely.
So thank you, ma'am. Thank you. So for this opportunity, thank you, Sunil, ma'am, and also thank you, IDYM. So it is something which I actually wanted to speak since many days. Now, most of the points which I was thinking were already covered by the two speakers. So I would like just to start with one of my experiences during the pandemic times. 2 years ago, suddenly, when there was lockdown and we had no other solutions because all the schools and colleges were closed. And there was only one solution to continuing the education, that was online classes.
Online.
So at that time, many of the teachers were worried how to conduct the online classes, because for so many years we have been trained for classroom teaching and not online teaching. So at that time, we formed a group. We were some 6 to 7 teachers, and we gave hands-on training to the teachers to conduct online classes. We taught all the Google's tools, because it was not only about conducting a class, but we had to take online attendance, giving them online assignments. All those had to be done. And within a span of 1 month, we trained nearly 300 teachers. And we were actually risking our lives, because at that time it was so much of social distancing. No one even wanted to interact with each other. But still at that time, we were conducting trainings continuously. Though we had a lab which could accommodate 50 to 60 people at a time, but due to social distancing norms, we didn't have so many people. We divided them into small batches, and we trained the teachers from different schools. Because somewhere people were looking at us that, okay, this people are from engineering colleges, so they are good at using the software tools. And so we were selected, and I'm really fortunate enough that I was one of the trainers. So during those times, I must tell you, this work, this training 300 teachers in a month, though 300 may seem to be a very small number, but actually we were helping thousands of children to continue their education in the midst of pandemic. Now, during those days, there was actually a trend. All the social organizations, all the political parties were running for publicity. The local newspapers and the news channels were flooded with news of social organizations distributing grocery kits and food packets. And they were running behind, these events were actually publicized very much. But we were doing this voluntarily without demanding a single penny from any of the teachers, that too avoiding all the kind of publicity. So I think this was just an example where we say teaching is a noble profession. And this is what we did during the pandemic times. But still, many of the people who are now entering the teaching field, they are due to some kind of force, some kind of pressure. Like, especially from the engineering field, if we say, the students, if we ask, how many of you want to be teachers? They say no. Yeah, lecturership, we can easily get it. If I don't get a job anywhere else, I will enter lecturership or I will become a teacher. These are actually the views of many of the students that we have. But teaching job is not so easy. It is not a 10 to 5 job. It is sometimes a 24/7 job, especially when there is some cultural fest in the college or technical fest in the college. Round the time we are like answering the queries of the students, helping them out in managing the events and all. So it is like 24/7 job that we are doing. We are not teachers, we are their counselors, we are their guides. We have to keep on like guiding them around the time, and sometimes even they come with the personal problems, so we are doing so much of them. But when we teach, when we select a profession, it is not only about working, but when we do a job, we actually expect something in return, and that is just a salary. But are the teachers being paid for? Like Vishakha ma'am was telling about the salary of the teachers, but I must say, ma'am, the condition of the lecturers, especially in the private engineering colleges, even it is the same like the teachers. The lecturers are not being paid for the work they are being doing. Now, at the college level, the teachers are expected to upgrade themselves. We have to publish research papers, we have to do faculty development programs, and there are so many other things that have been given to us. We are spending, besides our teaching schedule, we are spending so much of time in doing, in upgrading ourselves, doing different types of courses, doing different types of training. But are we being paid for that? No. If you actually compare a person doing MTech and entering an IT industry, and another person entering a teaching industry, and let us take an example that both of them start with their job of something like 3 lakhs per annum. So after 5 years, if you see, the person who has entered the teaching field will be struggling to get 5 lakhs per annum, but the same person who has entered the IT industry must have reached 10 lakhs per annum. And in the next becomes more. So this is somewhere, and when the people start looking at their friends, those who are working in the IT industry, this actually hurts a lot. So here, especially for the private colleges, if we see, they don't have an education model. They have a business model. They want good teachers, but they don't want to pay them. And yes, are the intellectuals really entering the teaching field? Yes, they are entering. Obviously, they are entering. And most of them, they have actually entered the coaching fields. We have different types of coaching for the competitive exams, for the NEET, JEE, and all like the different types of coaching that we must be having. If you see, many of the, especially from the premier institutes, like if we just go around the city and you see the hoardings of the big coaching classes, most of them are from premier institutes like IITs and IIMs. and they have entered the teaching field. It is not that just the people graduating from simple colleges or some normal colleges are entering the teaching field. The people.
Now I'm in a lurch. What to do? I can't go there. I can't go. It's like the boat stuck in between the ocean. Neither can go back, neither can go in the front. What am I to do? Just keep on rowing your boat. Nothing is going to happen. So I opened my own platform in the pandemic, that is upskilling teachers, and I've mentored more than 30 to 40,000 teachers across the globe. And this is what the power of teachers is. This is what the intellectual minds can do. You don't need to become a doctorate. You don't need to acquire and you can say purchase the doctorate degree. And I'm happy. Many people are offering me, please, you pay so much money, I'm going to give you the doctorate. I said, I don't want a doctorate. I want the real doctors to come out, because the parents who have struggled hard to give their children doctorates, we will create a wrong impression for them. We are making the learning easier for the children of tomorrow if we buy and take the doctorates. We don't want. And I really don't want. I'm happy being what I am. As I'm sitting here on the IDYM platform, hosting the teacher upskilling session with adult education, you can say, not even early childhood educators, with adult education. What more can one teacher ask for, one educator ask for? So this is the power of intellectual mind. Twist your brain, turn your brain. Your brain is so powerful that you just need to hone the skills. You just need to upskill your learning in beautiful ways. People like Anjum ma'am, people like Marine ma'am, Iman ma'am, so many others. The newly freshers are more powerful on the technology nowadays. We are learning from them to adapt to technology. We don't know how we shifted on the technology when the pandemic struck. फटाफट हम लोगों ने कैसे हम लोग ने वो Zoom learning on किया, कैसे किया? Because somewhere in the mind, super brain was there and networking was there. This is how the structure works. And we used that knowledge and started to adapt the online learning system. अगर हमारे पास वो knowledge भी नहीं होती तो हम ये online भी नहीं आते.
Yeah.
That is the power of super brain. So my question to you is, ma'am, what do you think is lacking? The core 3 words that is lacking for the intellectual minds not joining the profession. And why is teaching considered? We say teaching is a very noble profession, but if you turn the axis of the earth, all the educators are not making it a noble profession. They are making it more filthy now. They are making it more corrupted. So what is the cause of all this? What is the reason behind of all this? The rat race is number 1. So let us not include the rat race, because we as educators, as principals, don't want to be in the rat race. So 3 words from your side, why the intellectual minds are not joining the real core words.
Firstly, I think they don't understand what actually your teaching job is.
Exactly.
Though it is called a noble profession, but it is not considered. We are just termed as ordinary teachers sometimes. Though we are like, I am in college, but still that's a term that is being used, ordinary teacher. The people don't realize the importance of teaching. I think it is only on Teachers' Day that we have so many messages floating on our screen. Otherwise, rest of the days, they don't really realize the importance of the teachers. And think that somewhere this has to be changed.
I think you really spoke my voice out. It's only on the Teachers' Day. And what I'm seeing nowadays the trend is, कोई भी एक स्पेशल डे आया, सबसे पहले फेसबुक में वो आ जाएगा, ये डे वो डे, और कल वापस वैसे ही हो जाता है नॉर्मल. सब डेज खत्म हो जाते हैं. The Teachers' Day is also gone. The whatever day you call, everybody will post on their walls the Independence Day and this. And I am that one person who never changed my wall. I am just where I am, because I don't believe in 4 दिन की चांदनी. Be what you are, as you are, irrespective of your flaws and imperfections. That is where you will start to hone your skills. And thank you so much, ma'am, for your beautiful, insightful learning. And to take forward my session, I would like to call upon Marine ma'am for one wonderful advice to all the educators, how intellectual minds can use the power of the brain to hone their skills. From you, Marine ma'am.
Thank you so much. I think if every single person out there can just do one thing, and that is introspect. Introspect and learn more about yourself. Develop yourself and find that pursuit, that passion within you. And the one thing that you will find is that you have this need to learn. that alone tells you that you need to learn. There is a skill, there is something to develop, there's something to grow. What does that mean? That means that your heightened sense of intellectual being needs something. So go and feed that something. And that goes for everybody. And that is why we say to everyone, intellects is not just somebody sitting behind a desk. And our teachers are the most intellectual because they encompass the intellect plus the emotional being that they have to be. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am. Beautiful nuggets, I think. Vishaka, ma'am, over to you.
Ma'am, I feel if the same question is floated to me, I feel if each profession takes up the responsibility, like we have the the social cause that we work for, if each person in any profession helps the school by sharing their knowledge, their expertise, and a little time, be it a college or be it a school, I think the world will become a better and a very, very interesting and a collaborative place. So be it any profession you belong to, remember teachers brought you to that position, and so go back. It's like giving back to the society. So go back and give back to the society, teach children, ask your child's school if I can contribute in some way, and take some special sessions. And I think you'll be doing a wonderful task, not only for that school, but also for the society and humanity in general.
Wonderful, wonderful. I think we started on with creating the recipe, then the recipe is on the way to become the final product. And over to you, Anjum ma'am, for the final garnishing of the dish.
Yeah, ma'am. What I think is, yes, we should motivate everyone to give back to the society. And this is what I feel. In fact, I have been doing that. Like whenever I go to my hometown, I have also conducted some lectures. But there I say, when I go as a speaker or as a resource person to other places, obviously there must be some kind of remuneration. But when I go back to my place, I say no. I am not a guest. I am one amongst you. So everyone should actually learn to give back to the society in whatever profession you are. And for the teachers, like I earlier said, we are continuously learning. So we have to keep on learning. And I keep on doing so many of courses, one after the other, some short courses. So teachers should actually upgrading themselves not only to learn new things, but actually cope up with the changing surroundings, because there are so many changes as you like during online teaching, we suddenly switch to online platforms. So to cope up with the changing and the advanced world, we have to keep on upgrading ourselves.
Yeah, that is the need of the learning never stops, no matter wherever we are. Still, that hunger is there. अरे ये नहीं आता है, वो नहीं आता है, वो भी सीखना है. So let us be that child where we were, not to stop learning, with all the wonderful speakers over here. And over to Bedkar sir for the sweet dish of the day. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Sonali madam, Principal Vishaka madam, and all the participants here. Today, I have listened from all the experts and from you also after summarizing this, why intellectuals are not coming in our job. It was the topic of our discussion. And Vishaka madam was saying that teachers should be expert in his subject, and we just try to give training what is updated in the subject or curriculum, all these things. My observation is that similar to her, since there are two types of teachers, one is part-time or doing in private colleges or private schools, and one are the government. In my college also there are part-time teachers, contract-based teachers, and the full-time teachers. Those are getting full salary from the government. Look, out of 100 of the part-time contract-based teachers, 99 teachers are efficient to do the job perfectly. And out of full salary holders, only 10% teachers are able, having interest to taught or to accept responsibility and to do something for the better of the society. So why this happens? Because when teacher forgets what's my duty is, we first of all we are creating intellectual minds. We are guiding to the minds those who can be intellectual. So we are intellectual. We can shape the body, shape the minds of the students, and we are daily happy with this because the generation is so younger than us. And if we keep interest our, we become a master in that subject and teachers, those who are remembered in throughout the life, those who are faithful in the teaching to the students. And teaching best is the first job to create something space in the mind. When you teach perfectly, when you communicate your subject perfectly, students become your friend or maybe more closer. And then only you can give your sanskar, your cultural, all these things to them. First of all, you have to make a space that you are perfect in the subject. And by giving subject or by in teaching the subject, you may use your innovative ideas, intellectual ideas, any project work, anything you can do that. If you remember one thing, in 77, I was in seventh standard. It was the third standard of the English medium because at the time of fifth standard, there was English was introduced. So in the third class, means fifth, sixth, seventh, there was a poem my teacher was teaching, Gajalwar sir. Now he is not alive. And it was the poem wrote by a poet, which is the explanation of a candle. And the poem was like this: Little Nancy a teapot in a white petticoat. These words are still remembering by me by that teacher when I was taught in the my seventh standard. So all the series of the teachers, most teachers are remembered to me with their expression, with their thoughts, with their stories, with their all these things. Still, those who are alive in touch with me. Why? Because they were perfect in their subject. They did some space in our mind and heart, and we remember to that. Afterwards, the job is that they become our guardian also. So thank you for this. This is a respectful profession. We have to create respect in the mind, in the society with our duty and job. That is our first duty. If we are doing some wrong thing, then it's wrong. Message goes to the society. Thank you, madam, for the best topic today also with our teacher community. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir, for the one wonderful. I think it was a totally enriching topic because real outputs were given, real voice was spoken out from each of you, from Vishaka ma'am, from your side, from Anju ma'am, because we should not live in the world of fantasy. We have to bring out the core issues and we have to start cleaning the system drop by drop. So thank you so much, sir. Much privilege. Thank you. So before we end the session with all the wonderful speakers over here, my few words for today. The alignment of key elements of the school system, such as teacher training, teaching, learning materials, ongoing teacher support, mentoring, monitoring, assessment, and course correction towards achieving stated goals is a must. Given the size, depth, and the magnitude of the catch up that is required, we will need a persistent and a high priority effort. The widespread phenomena of falling behind, the widespread phenomena of falling behind that we see today happens because the right things are not done at the right time. That is the need of the hour. Building strong foundation in the early years allows children to leap forward. So let us all collaborate together, leap forward with our own intellectual minds. Let us not stagnate the brain. Thank you to everyone for this wonderful, amazing session number 26. The why the intellectual minds are not joining the profession. Now we will see the intellectual minds joining the profession. All the best to you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, my dear sister. Excellent, excellent, excellent.